Hello, everyone. This is Jeremiah, W9JAM for BridgeCom Systems and the Ask Me Anything live stream. Hope everybody is having a good day today. Hopefully, you've got some questions ready for me. We are going to go over how to reset your Brandmeister password for the SkyBridge so you're able to get back in if you're having issues with your Parrot and not being able to connect. So with that, let me take and go ahead and get that pulled up here, and we will get into that. The one thing you will need is your brandmeister.network account and password. That, if you don't have it, you can actually do a password reset as long as you remember what email address you used and your call sign to reset your password for the master account. So what we're going to do is, let me see here, share screen, and here we go. All right, so you can see this is the Brandmeister website, and I'm already logged in. So to reset your Brandmeister password for your hotspot, you actually have to log in and click on your username, which is your call sign, and you get this up here that pops up, and you click self-care, and it reloads the page for self-care. The hotspot I'm using is the one that's 3119803. So then we're going to come down here to where it says hotspot security, and we're just going to enter a new password. So for this, I'm just going to put one in. Hit save password, and we'll get that little box that says success. So then we have to go to our SkyBridge. Because this SkyBridge is, or let me rephrase that, because the hotspot I'm using for today's example is a dual it receives and transmits like a repeater does. It's a dual hotspot. I actually need to take and go to the wireless setup because it was just re-imaged. So you're going to get to see me set up the hotspot like it was brand new. So we're going to go to 192.168.1, or excuse me, 50.1. And for those of you who want that IP address again, let me find it here. 192.168.50.1. That's how you get in when you log in through the Pi-Star setup wireless access point. So if you've never taken and set up your hotspot before, that's how you do that. So we're going to go ahead and fill out my information and get everything set up, and we'll be able to get onto the network. So first things first, call sign, W9JAM, the frequency, 44. Well, actually, this is a duplex node, so I need to apply that change real quick. All right. There we go. So you'll see we have the MMDVM host configuration, and this is where you set up your screen as well. So on your SkyBridge, if you ever get stuck on initializing on your screen, but you're able to get into where it says Pi-Star digital voice configuration, you'll actually want to take and come back down and reset this up for your screen. But let's get the rest of the information in first. So we can take and get the hotspot password fixed. So this is a dual hat GPIO. And then the frequency that I'm going to use is 442 dot, we're going to say 455. And then 447.455. So there's that. And for now, I'm just going to leave the town and the locator alone. Country is USA. And my time zone, I'm on the East Coast. So I'm going to set this for America and New York. Hit apply changes. GMRS Kissimmee, best DMR for 2023. I love my Anytone radio, so I'm going to have to say Anytone. My 878 or my 578. Both radios have served me well so far, especially in my move across the country. So yeah, I'm going to say my 878 and my 578. All right. I'm going to go ahead and configure my screen here. And the settings that I just put in are actually the same settings for the screen setup on the SkyBridge. Next-in display for the display type, modem for the port, and next-in layout is ON7LDSL3. So I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to click DMR mode to turn that on. I'm going to hit apply changes. Steve, the only change that is going to be done on the Ultra Code plug is going to be changing the group disconnect to say GC instead of PC. The dual hat is actually a device I've had for 6 years. It's not the SkyBridge. The new SkyBridge features we will be getting into at a later date. So make sure you go ahead and bookmark the August 31st show. That's the show you're going to want to watch. So make sure that you're watching that show on any and all changes coming to the SkyBridge. All right. So back to the Pi-Star dashboard. You will notice I have a new line here that says DMR ID. We're going to go ahead and plug that in, 3119803. Make sure you plug yours in, not mine, and hit apply changes. And you'll notice you have to do the apply changes several times. All right. And I'm sorry it takes a little bit for this to load. This is a Pi 3 board, so it is a little bit slower than our SkyBridge. So all of this is set up now. Now we come down here to the DMR configuration. This is the bread and butter. So when you're setting it up, unless you're going to be using multiple networks on your hotspot, your SkyBridge, which the SkyBridge can be used with multiple networks, TGIF, we actually have a talk group on. So that is right here, TGIF, talk group 2266. That is the Brandmeister talk, or excuse me, BridgeCom talk group. So there's that. So you can find us hanging out on there. I know I've got one of my radios set for that. So you may catch me on there. I may just be listening and not saying anything because I may be working on tickets or other things. So just a friendly reminder of that. And what we're going to do for DMR Master, we're actually going to change that to Brandmeister for my area, which is going to be 3104 for the East Coast, 3103 for the West Coast, and 3102 for the Central US. So I'm on 3104. I'm going to click Apply Changes. And then I'm going to have an option right here for putting in my Brandmeister hotspot security password. Bob, you don't need to have a separate DMR ID for each radio you have. They actually only issue one DMR ID now. If you're trying to use multiple radios at the same time, though, that will be a problem because the hotspot, Skybridge or otherwise, may take and cause an issue. So it's best to use multiple if you have them, but they're only issuing one DMR ID per person now. But for hotspots, what you can do is you can actually add a 01, 02, or 03 down here at the bottom for the ESS ID, which is going to be right here. You see how it's got my DMR ID from up here down here now? We can add a 01, 02, 03, depending on how many hotspots you have. So since this is my second hotspot, I'm going to put 02. And then that password that I made earlier under hotspot security in Brandmeister, that is going to go right here where it says hotspot security. So I'm going to click that, hit apply changes. Let that refresh. And once this reloads, I'm going to go over here to admin. And we're going to see that some of my stuff is red. That's because it doesn't have a network connection because I'm using the Wi-Fi access point that the Pi-Star software generates when it doesn't have a wireless connection or a hardwired connection. So this is taking a minute to load. All right. I see some familiar faces in the chat here. Bob and Dan, thank you for being here. Thank you everybody else who is here today. Greatly appreciate it. Now you'll see that DMR is red right here under mode and DMR net is red. That's because I haven't set it up on my network for my wireless network. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my configuration. And right down here is where you configure your wireless information. So I'm going to click configure Wi-Fi and I'm going to tell it US for my region and scan for networks and see what networks I've got around me. All right, 1 second here. All right, those are the two that it picked up so far. So I'm going to hit scan for networks again. And this takes about 10 to 15 seconds. And you should see one that says W9JAM. Yep, right there. I'm going to click select. I'm going to type in my password. Click save and connect, but it's not going to connect us. What it's going to do is it's going to take and put it into the configuration file. And I'm going to show you guys that real quick. But don't go into the configuration file and edit anything manually. All right. Bear with me 1 second here. All right. So here's what the configuration file or the WPA_supplicant file looks like. Now, if you're putting together your SkyBridge for the first time and you want to set it up on Wi-Fi right away, you can actually go to Pi-Star's website, and they have a tool there that will actually help you set up your Wi-Fi. You'll need to spell your Wi-Fi access point name exactly as it appears on the label on your router, or how it appears when you search for your Wi-Fi, and then put in your password, and it'll generate a file that looks just like this when you open the file in Notepad. And you just copy this file directly to the card on the SkyBridge before booting up the SkyBridge. So that is one way you can get the Wi-Fi working on your SkyBridge right away if you don't have a network cable at home, or a router that has a network plug like some of the Starlink routers. So I'm going to click Apply Changes, and then I'm going to go back up to Admin, wait for that to load, and then I'm going to go to Power, and click on Shutdown, give it 30 seconds, unplug it, and then plug it back in. What this does is it allows it to save the settings, put everything back in the correct way, and then it should boot up on the wireless network. And then we'll connect to the wireless network, and we'll be able to get into the hotspot and see that everything is working, and you'll be able to take and know that everything is set up and working correctly on your hotspot. Stephen Bishop wants to know, does BridgeCom or Anytone have any plans to do NXDN or P25 in the future? I will actually reach out to Anytone tonight to see if that's something they are considering. At this point, I don't have an answer on that. I know that we are looking at options for radios for NXDN and P25, but we haven't set our sights on anything specific yet. Whatever we do, we want to make sure that it's the best option for you guys, and it's going to live up to your expectations. So there's that. Ken Dillman asked, is there a config file for the default SkyBridge as shipped? There is not a image file that we ship out or give to anybody. What you can do is you can actually take the card out and use a program like Belina Etcher to make a copy of the card and save the image on your computer. So you can just make a new image of the card if something happens. Eric, M17 capabilities. Eric, that is a really good question, and I can't give any specifics on that yet. Watch the August 31st show. You'll be surprised. So go ahead, go to our YouTube channel, click on live, and then you'll see that there's a scheduled show for August 31st. Click notify and make sure that you're subscribed, and you will be able to get the notification of when that show is going live, so you can tune in and see who our special guest co-host is and get all the latest information on one of our products that is going to be going through some revisions. Bob Kraus asked, Oops. When using DMR, sometimes I see a caller's name, call sign, city, and state on my 878 screen. And sometimes I just see their DMR ID. Why is that? Well, what it is the DMR ID is a new ID that has been issued, and it isn't in the contact list on your radio yet. So to update the contact list on your radio, you actually have to go to DMR, or excuse me, radioid.net, click on where it's got database, and click data dump. And then you're going to look for a file called user.csv. That file is the full DMR digital contact list. Now, if you're using an 878 UV, not a UV2, but a UV, what's going to happen is it will only hold 200,000 of those contacts. And you'll get an error code 15 when you import it, because it couldn't import the whole list. If you're using the UV2 Plus or the 578, it will hold all 500,000. So you'll be able to put that full list into the radio. When you go to do that, you're actually going to go to your programming software, the CPS, and you're going to read your radio first and make sure that you read the digital contact list from your radio when you do this. It's not required, but it's a good idea to know what number it stopped at, just so you can see how many you're behind if you are really into data like I am. That's one of the reasons my nickname at work is Jarvis. So you'll go to import after you read the radio. So that is found under the tool menu. Click on import. You'll get a warning box that pops up. Click OK. And then you're going to click on digital contact list and select the user.csv file you downloaded, and then click import. It'll take a little bit to do that, and it may seem like the computer is froze. Just give it about 5 minutes. It'll get it imported. Then you're looking for the user.csv file. It's the second one from the bottom on that list, Bob. These are some really good questions today. All right. When you get the import done, you're going to go to write under program, write to radio, and make sure the check mark is checked for digital contact list. Once you click the check mark, click OK, and it's going to start writing to the radio. When it's done writing to the radio, which will take about 6 minutes or so, you'll have the full digital contact list as of that day's date added to your radio, and you shouldn't see just a DMR ID anymore. You should see all the information. So hopefully that helps, Bob. There will be a recording replay of the show after the show, so you can rewatch this segment and fast forward to it. This is 24 minutes into the show, so figure about 20 minutes in if you want to use the time skip. Just skip ahead to this conversation. So hopefully that helps you, Bob. And the UV Plus is the one that holds 200,000 contacts, so it won't hold the full list. What you can do is you can sign up on radioid.net for a subscription, and they have a contact list manager that'll allow you to select only the countries that you want. And you can select like just USA and Canada that is how you can limit the number of contact lists and speed up the process. So let's go to Tom's question. Recently joined BC Plus and have never logged into it. How do I log in? Great question, Tom. For those of you who don't know, BridgeCom Plus is our membership program. It's going to be going through some revisions soon. There's going to be some changes, but to log in, you'll actually go to bridgecomuniversity.com and you will sign in there. If you don't see everything for BridgeCom Plus, submit a support ticket with your order ID for BridgeCom Plus, and I'll take and get that added to your profile. So, Tom, if you want to go ahead and submit a ticket at support.bridgecomsystems.com with your order ID number for your BridgeCom Plus order, after the show, I will hop into that and see what I can do to get that resolved for you. If you need help creating your BridgeCom University account, just go like you're going to sign in and then hit create account and fill out the information and then send the ticket in with your order ID for your BridgeCom Plus subscription. And I'll get everything updated for you. And thank you for joining. For those of you who are interested in joining, you can actually go to, let's see, where did I put it? Where is it here? This link, bridgecomsystems.com/pages/bridgecom-plus. We've got a monthly option, an annual option, and a lifetime option. And that allows you to get all of the courses that we have available, plus any new courses that we come out with, like the ones we're working on right now. So Dave has a question, and then we'll get back to the hotspot. Says, hello, I have an 878 UV version 1. I tried using CPS 3.02, and when I tried to import data from phone, I think you mean the radio, I get COM error 2500 and it shuts down. Any suggestions? I did update the COM drivers. The first thing that I'm going to suggest is you actually have to do a firmware upgrade on the radio. Make sure that the firmware is version 3.02 on the radio. And the drivers themselves, you don't have to update. Windows 10 and Windows 11 actually install the correct drivers. Microsoft got something right on that installs the correct drivers automatically. There may be something wrong with the firmware, the way it flashed. When you said you updated the drivers, did you use the GD drivers or are you using the Windows 10 driver or Windows 11 driver? Because that could be part of the problem. The other thing you can do, Dave, if you want some one-on-one help with that, is go to support.bridgecomsystems.com, click on submit a ticket up at the top, and fill out the information. Okay. It sounds like the driver's not the right one in there then. Are you using Windows 10 or Windows 11 or Windows 7? Let's see here. Okay, Dave. I'll keep an eye out for your ticket and I'll get back to you as soon as I can this afternoon so we can set a time up to take and deep dive in to see what's going on. Windows 10, that shouldn't have had to have any drivers installed. So it's more than likely an issue with the driver that is in there right now. So it needs to be reset. And I can show you how to do that if I can actually pull up Device Manager. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if it'll let me share that screen. Let's see, present. And share screen. And window device manager. There we go. All right, so here's my device manager. And I'm gonna turn my 878 on just to show you guys how to do this. Let me grab my programming cable here. All right, and for those of you who are wondering what the correct programming cable looks like, this is the end that you're gonna wanna look for. If you have multiple cables, this doesn't have a chip in it. It's not showing the device manager. Dave, can you see the device manager on your screen? Okay, it should be showing here. 1 second. Okay, Dave's saying he sees it. Okay. So plug in your cable to the computer. Plug into the radio with your radio on. And under ports, you'll see a COM port that pops up. And on mine, it's COM port 3. Dave, okay, Dave, this will be recorded, so you'll be able to see it. Just rewatch the replay. We're going to right click on USB serial device, update driver, browse my computer for drivers, and then let me pick a list of available drivers on my computer. Then we're going to come down here to USB serial device and the second one from the bottom. So this one right here. This is the one that we want. We're going to click next. Windows is going to reinstall that driver. Click close. And then you shouldn't have any problem on COM3 reading your radio. So hopefully that helps. All right. And now, let's see if the hotspot comes back up here. Okay, Robert, are you using Windows 7 or Windows 10 and 11? Because if you're using Windows 10 or 11, you need to change that, just like I showed, back to USB serial device. The Giga device driver is only for Windows 7. Okay, you will want to change it, just like I showed in Device Manager, to the correct one. All right. So let's get back over to the hotspot. And I'm going to click present, share screen again, and we're going to get back to the digital dashboard. And now we're going to type in the IP address that is on the front of our hotspot. In this case, mine is 172.20.10.6 because I'm running it off my iPhone. Daniel, if you're looking for trouble, I'd have to say either the mirror or wait till I'm live on the live streams because I tend to get myself into some form of trouble. For those of you who are wondering, Daniel is a longtime member of BC Plus and is one of the friends of the show. So he likes to call us trouble. Eric, for your question, to switch between the VFO and the memory mode, it should be button P2 on the front. So it should be this button right here underneath the red button. Should switch you between the VFO and memory. Okay, so as you can tell, DMRNet is now green and DMR mode is green, meaning when we key up the radio on a talk group, we should be able to get in and hear Parrot talking. I got to do a little bit of configuration on my radio here real quick for this repeater or this hotspot. So bear with me 1 second here. I had to reflash the hotspot before the show. So, all right, receive frequency is 447 455. And transmit frequency is going to be 442 455. And now when I key up on Parrot, it should trigger the hotspot. Emphasis on the word should. All right. Yeah, if it's not working, Eric, make sure under your key buttons in or key function in the optional settings on the CPS that you have P2 set for VFO/memory. So it should be VFO/M or V/M. Robert, that should be good for Windows 10 then. That will be the correct driver for the Anytone. Richard, when asked to move to another channel for a private or less used channel, is there a quick way to navigate to another channel on the 878 if you're not near your computer for input? The best way is actually to take and have a channel, like if you're going to be on a certain channel that tends to be busy, have that channel pre-programmed in the zone and then disconnect from the first channel using the talk group disconnect and then key up that other channel. One moment here. Trying to do front panel programming on a 878 live. Okay. 5, confirm. And Oh, I know why. On this particular hotspot, I have to put an offset because unlike our sky bridges, the oscillator on this hotspot is off. So I actually have to put an offset in. So once that reloads, there we go. And that was Parrot. So we should hear Parrot come back to me now. Oops. W9 JAM testing Parrot 1 2 3 4. W9 JAM testing Parrot 1 2 3 4. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that. So yes, it is possible to front panel program an 878 live on AMA. It takes a second, but it is possible to do it. So now we've got our password reset, and I can go ahead and run my software updates to update this to the latest version. So, does anybody have any other questions? Uh-oh. I think my cell phone might have just stopped my Wi-Fi. Yep, it did. All right, well, running the updates is fairly easy. Just take and click on update and allow that to run. And when it's done, power cycle your SkyBridge or your hotspot. Okay. Robert has an interesting question. After a firmware update, it asks to do an MCU reboot by pressing the push to talk and the PF1 during power on. When I do this, it just boots and doesn't go into reset mode. Okay. So, Robert, something you need to check in your CPS. Go ahead, read your radio, even though you did the firmware update, read the radio, and then go to optional settings on the left menu, and you're going to look for the one that says power on under the tabs. Make sure MCU reset is turned on there. If it's not, turn it on and go ahead and write the code plug back to the radio. Then when you power on the radio, you're going to make sure you press push to talk and PF1 together at the same time, hold them in and turn the radio on and keep holding those until it says, are you sure you want to initialize radio? Once it says, are you sure you want to initialize radio? Release both buttons and hit confirm. And once it's done resetting the radio, you'll be able to take and enter the time and date, and you'll be good to go on that. So there is that. Hopefully that helps, Robert. Any recommendations for an Android app or website to get your current grid square and exact GPS location? Interestingly enough, I have an iPhone and I have multiple apps that do that on the iPhone. I don't know of one that works on Android, but I know there's several that will. Look for something like Ham Tools. See if there's one of those that should have a grid square locator built into the app. The other thing that you can do is take the address where you are and put that into Google. And you'll notice in the Google address bar, you'll see some coordinates. That's your latitude and longitude. You'll take and get those two numbers out and then type in grid square locator ham radio in Google, and you'll be able to search that way. So that way you can get your grid square. But as far as an Android app itself, that is something I will have to look up for next week's show, because I have an Android tablet that I need to put software on that'll do that. Oh, if you have an iPad, let's see, the Apple app, let me find it here, is going to be Ham Radio Tools. That's the name of the app. It's an older app. It's got an antenna calculator, a ERP calculator, Ohm's law, LC resonance, and grid square locator. You can put in your latitude and longitude, or you can type, you can hit the button that says get position. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's probably a little too bright, but get position, and it'll fill out everything for you. The words are ham radio tool. Looks like Bob has answer there. Grid square locator, grid square, or ham GPS are his current favorites for getting your grid square. These are some really good questions today, guys. Thank you so much. So, does anybody else have any other questions? All right. And just for those of you who are wondering, there are 3 tiers to BC Plus or BridgeCom Plus. I've got your lifetime membership, your monthly membership, and an annual membership that you can get, and each one has more perks than the last. So you can go to the website at the bottom and sign up there and find out more information about what each one has. So there's that for you. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to let all of you get back to your lunch. I'm going to grab me a quick bite to eat and get ready for tonight's show. So if you're not already a BridgeCom Plus member, make sure that you go to the link below, and you will be able to take and sign up there and get into tonight's show. Stephen, yes, we do. The 578 does crossband repeat. It's the 578 UV3 Plus, and it is possible to do crossband repeat. Robert, the tab you're looking for is the Power On tab. At the very bottom of that tab, you'll see where it says MCU Reset, and you want to make sure that option is on. So, Eric, hopefully we'll see you in BridgeCom Plus tonight, or BCU Live for BridgeCom Plus. Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the compliment. Robert, go ahead and go to support.bridgecomsystems.com and submit a ticket with your order number, and I will try and help you get that set so you can get your radio reset, okay? So with that, everybody, thank you again for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. I know things don't go smoothly as I'd like them to sometimes on these live sessions, but that's the beauty of live production, is sometimes things don't work out and makes it an interesting learning experience. So thank you again, everybody. I've had fun. Hopefully you've had fun, and thank you again. And we will see you next week. We do have a new time for BridgeCom Plus, just so you guys know. And here is tonight's show. It's 7 p.m. Central, and tonight's show is setting up GPS roaming with Dwayne N6DMR from Anytone, and he is also one of my former co-workers here. So he will be back tonight to help us with setting up GPS roaming on our 578s. So make sure that you tune in for that. And if you haven't already, you can actually follow me on Twitter at the W9JAM. And we will be announcing those changes once they're finalized. I think you will like what we've got in store, so just stay tuned. I'm shooting for September 1st is the date of when I'll have everything finalized, but that's a tentative date at this point. I want to make sure that when we do everything, it's full bore, it's ready to go, and ready for you guys. So thank you again for watching. Dan, the guest tonight is Dwayne N6DMR. He used to work here at BridgeCom in customer service tech support, and he is helping with setting up the GPS roaming tonight. So here's that. And here is the live stream schedule for those of you who want to write it down. Ask Me Anything live stream Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central Time. And BCU Live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. You do have to be a BC Plus member to watch the BCU live stream. So just make sure that. And thank you again, everybody. And have a great rest of your week. We'll see you tonight. 7 threes.